When you form the leadership team of the house heads, and that's the new folks, it isolated some other people. And if they weren't a part of the ninth grade house and they weren't coming to Camp Cotting, they didn't have a voice in the school. And some of them were grumping around. We kind of made sure they didn't sort of poison the whole group. We rarely met as a whole school. We tried to shift the work into the houses. And so when people talk about you reculture first and then you structure, that wasn't our experience. If we hadn't restructured fairly early and create the houses, you never could have created the new culture, which worked in the house setting. Now the houses are important in other terms, in terms of they brought a guidance counselor out of the comfort zone of having an office next to the principal in the main building, and we now said, you've got a new job. Your job is to be out in the house working with kids, working with teachers on how to work with kids, and it's all more public and it's collective. Heartburn on the part of guidance counselors. Goodness gracious. We found that getting into the house, though, was what helped people get a new chance. Once we restructured the teachers so they're only seeing 60 kids a day, that's what opened up the possibility for them to really get to know the kids. Safety nets in an urban high school are really important. Now there's several kinds, though, that I think we need to see here. The house structure, to me, was the best safety net we had. Because if you have kids going every period 50 minutes somewhere else, invariably a good number of kids get lost. They get disconnected. The house connected a lot of kids back in. Even so, we had a special center that was for really at-risk kids who clearly couldn't make it in the regular school. Judy found a very good, caring person who could work intensively with those kids. We set up also a safety net where, remember, in the morning in the house, kids were in the core program. About half the kids needed more support. And we knew that if we put them into a traditional, somebody else do the remediation, it didn't work. So we set up where the same teachers spent an extra period of the day giving extra support to those kids, hence they only saw 60 kids a day. What it meant was the teachers had to learn how to give the support, which I know, because I watched and helped, it really changed the way they taught the core. They could stop pretending or acting on the belief of, well, I taught it, kids didn't get it, they better go somewhere else and get the help. Now I'm responsible for getting it in the context. So there were a number of safety nets. I would say the advisory periods, where you try to reach the kid in a lot of ways, was a safety net around their social concerns. Quite honestly, the ninth grade girls weren't dating the ninth grade boys. They were dating the 20-year-old boys who had cars and a little more status. Well, that put those ninth grade girls in some real jeopardy. And we did a number of things at the school to try to get the girls supported enough as a young woman so they could succeed in the school.